everyone. Welcome back to Underreported Stories, where I cover the news that CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox News fail to report on or don't report on enough. And today I am joined by my friend, YouTuber and commentator, Titus Ellis Smith. Welcome, friend.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to your own show. I was kidding. No, thank you.
No. I'm so happy you're here today. This is just one of those moments where our actual group chat or like conversation about you coming on a show and collabing is coming to life, and that never happens.
I know. People never actually do it. They're like, yeah, let's do this sometime. And then that's kind of it.
No. That is, if you're welcome to friendship with me. When you say you're going to do something, we're going to freaking do it. All right. But you have a flight to catch. So let's just get right into the hottest topics that the media are not covering enough before we get into our stories. So over the weekend, I'm sure plenty of people saw that at this Kamala rally, there was a crazy liberal lady who started screaming at a child. Let's watch this, and I'm going to get your reaction on the other side. Crazy.
That's crazy. It was funny that it was like, whoa, that's a baby. What are you doing? But I mean, that unhinged behavior is regular on the left. You know, they always like give you freaking. Do we even know why she was flipping out at this child?
I have no clue. The crazy thing is that it's all context clues that we've taken together from this video. We insinuate that because we're at a Kamala Harris rally, that this man and his child are somehow MAGA supporters. I don't know. He's in blue. There's nothing. He's not in a MAGA hat. There's nothing to insinuate that. We don't know what went wrong here or why this happened. We're just assuming it's political.
Yeah, it's either because they're MAGA supporters, but like I don't think you'd bring your kid to protest. It's probably it could be that they're white.
Oh, that's a take. I mean, that was just kind of the weird thing was when I listened to it the first two times, I didn't really take this away. But the second and third time I watched this, I was like noticing the way that the girl who was recording it kept laughing. She wasn't stepping in. She was laughing as this kid got it. That's just fucking nuts to me.
No, that's insane. I wonder, maybe they were Trump supporters. Just at a Kamala rally. That's weird though. Like there's something unhinged about an individual who's able to scream at a child. Like a baby, like not the dad, not the guy who was holding the stroller, the one that's in there. That's insane behavior. And I mean, we keep seeing this over time and time again on that side though. There's always some video of them freaking out, screaming out. Usually they have like blue hair and like yellow teeth, but like they're always freaking out, and it's super weird. But we're the weirdos.
We're the weird ones.
We're the weirdos. Sure. JD Vance is weird. They're weird. Like, yo, that's crazy. We can literally pan straight to that video when Trump was getting inaugurated with the girl with like the green hair and the hat screaming no, like that's y'all. Like that's just y'all. When Biden won, we didn't do none of that. We were just like, wow, this is unfortunate. They'll say J6, but that wasn't us. That
wasn't normal. Like I would not say that was normal people that were doing that. That was a group of people that are distinguishably different from your normal. We were talking about this, Titus, when we first met, about how conservatism is really just bred from being normal and logical. That's like the basis of what we believe.
100%. That's why you see people coming out saying like, okay, the left has gone way too extreme. That's why you see like Bryce Hall. Like this guy was an influencer doing TikTok dances and like YouTube boxing matches. But now he's like, okay, y'all are crazy. Like y'all are doing way too much. You've gone way too far. Even that girl who she thinks she used to be in the David Dobrik's like group, Corinna Kopf or whatever. She, one, stopped doing OnlyFans, and then two, endorsed Donald Trump. So,
wait, what? I did not know this. Yeah. What's her name? I'm going to look it up.
Like Corinna Kopf? I can't say that. It's like COPF or something like that.
COPF.
She literally just announced, like, I'm not doing... Yeah, she said, I'm not doing OnlyFans anymore. And then shortly after that, she goes, I'm endorsing Donald J. Trump. And I was like, you see this time and time again happening. I mean, even Elon Musk, that was a massive switch. I know we're all used to being part of the MAGA team now, but when he... Like, before, he was very, I don't know if he was anti-Trump, but he was very, like, I'm not going to do any of that. And now he's like, absolutely not. Like, gung-ho, going to the Madison Square Garden rally, like, freaking out. Like, pure, like, MAGA patriot.
No, it's crazy to watch the evolution of people. And I think that's why people keep asking me, who do you think's going to win in the election? And it's really difficult to put a pin on it because the amount of people that have come out in support of Donald Trump and just been outwardly supportive. I was just telling the story on Twitter. I was walking down the street and uber liberal neighborhood where everybody has Kamala Harris signs. Literally the entire block is pride flags, the trans pride flags, you know, and the Harris wall signs everywhere. And there was this bigger guy walking down my street, and he had a MAGA hat on. I said, I like your hat. He goes, thanks. My apartment's the same one that says gay, not stupid on it. Like, just preaching this and screaming this to the neighborhood. People are just not afraid to be Trump supporters like they were 4 or 5 years ago. And I can't tell if that's skewing my vision of how Tuesday's going to go.
In my mind, and maybe this is just being conspiratorial, I do not think there's a way that he can lose unless something sketchy happens. Like, and like, regardless of what you think of 2020, which even I think that was mishandled properly, I think something happened. I don't know exactly, but there's something. There's no way. There's no way. People don't even like Kamala Harris. She's not like a career, I mean, she's a career politician, but not in the sense of like Biden. She's not as well known as Biden was. And she wasn't under Obama, who was one of the most loved, even though most divisive as well. But like, she's just like a nobody, and she got installed at the last minute. She's had very short time to actually campaign. People know Trump. People also know, if they know anything at first, that she's under this current administration that they're suffering under. And then they know that Donald Trump, okay, yeah, maybe he said a couple things, like mean tweets, but like, I remember like I could afford a life. You know, I remember gas wasn't that expensive. And like, okay, maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought it was. If I just ignored all the rhetoric that was being spewed, maybe he wasn't the worst president ever. Oh, people are actually lying about him. He didn't actually say that. Oh, that there were good people on both sides thing wasn't referring to the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. He actually debunked that. You finally saw the clip 8 years later. Like, it's great. So like, I think it really the pendulum has swung. I think alternative media has really made people see the light. I think the Joe Rogan interview is like 30 million while being suppressed on YouTube is still like, people are really like no, maybe he is the right choice and he wasn't that bad. And even more so than maybe, a lot of people are just like gung-ho, like, I don't even care anymore. I support him. Like, screw everybody else. I'm not living in this administration. I'm not going through another 4 more years of this. I don't think he can lose. And if he does, I think something sketchy happened. Like, I don't think it's possible.
I see your point. I am so interested to see where this all ends up on election day. I'm going to be floored for sure. But with the election this close, the Democrats are now, this is my favorite. I've been dying to talk about this for weeks. I've been saving this clip because they've unveiled this new, quite frankly, idiotic talking point and standard by which we should be electing presidents. So according to Liz Cheney, you should want to pick your president based on how you would pick your babysitter. That's now the litmus test for whether this person is a good president or not. So this is Liz Cheney campaigning for Kamala Harris. Let's watch this.
I will just end this by saying, and I also know, because I have spent time with Vice President Harris, because I have come to understand what she believes about how she will govern, that she will be a president for all Americans, that she's committed to listening and committed to having viewpoints, some of which, you know, come from different ends of the political spectrum. And if you think about how you conduct, you know, your life outside of politics, how we all conduct our everyday lives, those are the kinds of people that you trust. Those are the kinds of people you can work with. Like, if you wouldn't hire somebody to babysit your kids, like, you shouldn't make that guy the president of the United States.
What an idiotic standard, Titus.
The stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. You know why it's stupid? Then there would be no male presidents, because men are not known predominantly for babysitting children. True. Like, that's not a thing they do. And this is coming from someone who worked in a daycare, preschool center. I love kids, like a big fan of them. So much fun. I would get mad that parents wouldn't ask me to babysit, because I'm like, give me that money so I can love baby. I love kids. Like, no, legit. Like, so, like, okay, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, to sit there and say that, if you wouldn't let them babysit your kid, like, okay, how about someone who's a billionaire, ran a massive company that can take those same skills and apply them to the economy? That's something that you'd actually want. Not Kamala Harris, who's known for locking up Vernon Jones, I think was the state rep in Georgia. He was like, Adam lock up a brother is what he called her. Like, that's what she did. Yeah, legit. She does all these things. She like flip-flops on policies. She's not trustworthy. At least Trump, like, what you see is what you get. And like with Kamala, it's like she's all over the place. Like, you're for fracking, then you're against fracking, illegal immigrant. She just, I just saw the other day where she said she's going to like deport all unlawful citizens and she's
going to follow the law. That's always her talking point.
Always follow. That's so weird.
Follow the damn law now, bitch.
When people ask you a question though, and you can't just answer it like a regular person, and you have to insist that, oh, well, I'm going to follow the law. Duh, that's assumed. That's weird. That's super
That's the bare
weird.
minimum.
That is so weird that you, like, that's what you're saying. Wait, so you're implying that we think you're not going to follow the law? Have you done things to show that you don't follow the law? Like, that's weird. That's the verbiage that she uses when she's on interviews. I'm like, you're just sketchy all around. Like, how about you answer the question? Just answer the question.
For sure. And, you know, I was trying to apply the standard of, okay, honestly, who would I rather have babysit my fictitious children? And then I looked at a picture of Ella Emhoff, who dresses like a freak routinely, and then Barron Trump or Ivanka Trump or Eric or Don Jr. or any of them. And I was like, yeah, if this is the litmus test, thanks, Liz Cheney. You just made the argument for why you should go vote for Trump, because I want my kid to turn out like Barron, not Ella Emhoff.
Right. And on top of that, literally, it's been stated by so many people. There was someone who just had an interview, and I'm forgetting his name right now, with Trump, and he said, one thing that made me realize how much of a genuine soul you are is the way you treated my daughter. And there's this guy who was a cameraman named Gene Ho, who goes to these Reawaken America tours and speaks on Trump's behalf, saying, like, I was his cameraman, and he, like, was so nice to my kids, and he was Asian. He's like, Mikey, there's not a racist bone in his body. He's always been so kind to my family. He's always been so good to, you know. And then obviously you see his kids; they all love him. They're all successful. They're all well groomed and taken care of, and not weird and like educated and intelligent. Like it's like, yes, I think I'd rather have Donald Trump babysit the kids. I think I'd rather have that happen.
Exactly. I know. All right. Well, I know we're short on time today, so without further ado, let's get into the 5 underreported stories that you need to know. Today's show is brought to you by Based, my merch line. If you didn't know this already, I'm an independent creator, and the best way to support this show is by purchasing my merch line that represents your views. Instead of just asking you guys for donations to fund my independent journalism, my business partner and I created a line of merch called Based Apparel. Based means you are the opposite of woke. It means you're based in logic, you're based in truth, you're based in facts. You get it. Head over to basedinlogic.com to check out our latest apparel. My personal favorite right now is the conspiracy theorist hat. And remember, when you buy merch, you are directly supporting me and this show. And when you get your apparel, please be sure to tag me on Instagram so I can repost you. The leftists over at the Washington Post, they have been having a full-blown meltdown. It has been so fun to watch, but I just love this idea that they are this alleged apolitical newspaper that has to endorse a presidential candidate. And so I've been watching, the numbers have been ticking up. So I've been keeping track of the numbers on the sheet today. And it started with one person from the paper's editorial board that resigned. Now it's 3. And then apparently, we don't actually have a way of confirming this, but NPR has been reporting that 250,000 subscribers have left the Washington Post, which in my calculation means there's about 5 people left reading this trash publication. So curious, what do you make of the Post decision to not endorse Harris? And then also, what do you make of the reaction of the way the staff have handled this?
I think it's a great idea I don't know. This is not a well thought out thing, so don't quote me on it for eternity.
Throw it out.
But
yeah.
I don't think any of these people should endorse anyone. Like if you're like a mainstream media or you're like a publication like that, just report on the news, like report on what's happening. Have the journalists go around, be unbiased, because we don't need to know what side you lean on. We shouldn't know what side you lean on. You should just be presenting the facts as they are, and then we're able to consume them. Because there's so much bias in the way people like do report things, you just don't even know what's true, or if they misconstrued it, if there was like an angle that they presented the evidence in that's not authentic to the truth or whatever. So it's like, I love that they said that. I think it's great that they said we're not going to endorse a candidate because we think it's divisive or whatever the reason Jeff Bezos chose to do it. And I think all the people that unsubscribed, good riddance. And all the people that are upset about it that work there, why? Why do you want so badly for them to endorse a candidate? That's just, especially because you know that you move people's opinions. You know that the things that you say influence people's decisions, and those decisions, as far as I'm concerned, if you were to endorse Kamala Harris, would hurt the country. So it's like, because of the influence you have, which is power, you can ruin things for the rest of the world. So I don't like it.
Yeah, but is anybody who's reading the Post not already voting for Kamala Harris? If you're an average news consumer and you're just trying to get the center of the news, most people, even though the newsroom is left-leaning, are going to go to the Wall Street Journal. You're not going to the Washington Post except for their commentary and their, quote, inside reporting on things that you could honestly go get for free over at Politico or Axios. I don't know why people are going to the Post. I also find it so interesting. I'm trying to put myself in the mind of a liberal right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm in there. I'm working for the Post, and the Post refuses to endorse Kamala, even though it's endorsed every Democratic leading president since Clinton. Am I in my head? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a race and a gender thing. Jeff Bezos hates black women. That's where my liberal brain goes.
That was smart. That was smart too. Yeah, that's exactly what they. Now that you said that, that's exactly what it was too. Of course, they didn't want to endorse the black woman because we never can get anything. Like, shut up. Shut up. I can't stand them. They're so annoying. And they endorsed Clinton. Half of that equation, like, she wasn't black, but she was a woman. Like, y'all chill. I cannot.
No, for real.
Oh, it's so annoying. No,
they are so annoying. But I'm just like, I just want to know so badly, like, what this internal Slack looks like. Remember when Barry Weiss left? This is such insider ball, but Barry Weiss she runs the Free Press. It's an independent news outlet, and she left the New York Times and exposed their Slack channels and how crazy they are. I think Politico has a Slack channel where the employees have internal meltdowns when Ben Shapiro writes op-eds for them. It's so funny. What I would give to be a fly on the wall in that Slack right now, someone put me in the group chat.
I know. I just want to read it. I won't even say anything. I just want to read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it. I don't understand that much of emotion being evoked out of an individual because of that decision. I don't understand being that infuriated. I think the divide politically in this country is so insane because I get frustrated about things I disagree with, yes, and I will obviously commentate on them and let the world know. But I'm not I release my frustrations, I hope for change, and then I go on with my day. I don't.
This is why we're friends, by the way, because that is so rare.
I don't sit there and fester in fury the whole day long, just thinking about the concept of a liberal and wanting to explode their brain or just so angry. Yeah. I don't do that. It's so weird. I don't understand why people behave in that way. It's not it's not good for you. It's not healthy. You're going through life angry all the time. That's not a good way to live. I don't get it.
No, I know. And they're always angry, or seemingly so angry at things that are fake. Let's get into our next story, because this is a story that you should actually be mad about and actually be principled about. And you won't hear this anywhere in mainstream. You won't hear this at the Washington Post. That's for sure. So this story caught my eye. It was so wild. It is an older story from 2021, but there are new developments in it as of this past week. So there was an Indian national convicted of distributing we call it corn on this channel, and he avoided deportation from the UK. So Indian man in the UK avoids deportation after his lawyers argued it would be inhumane to separate a pedophile from his children. Someone please square that circle for me. That makes no sense. This man was sent to prison for 14 months for distribution of child corn. His lawyers then argued it would harm his children to be separated from their father under a clause in the European Convention of Human Rights. So the judge has ruled that it was unduly harsh to have a sex offender removed from the country. My question here is, what is the point of having values if we're not going to point those harsh values at sex offenders? Who are you going to point them at if not some of the worst human beings in the world?
Yeah, that's insane. I don't understand this pass that sex offenders get. I feel just in the world, it's they get away with everything. We already know Hollywood's filled with them, right? And all these people, it's just
so true,
so weird. It's evil that they always get a pass, and then the reason being it's gonna harm the family, the kids. I'm sorry, he harmed other kids by having their videos plastered all over the place, and who knows what he did to them. What? That's the argument. That's the ruling because of his children. And I don't understand that they always talk about separating family from their or parents from their kids. It's if your father, or in America, if I commit a crime and I have kids, I'm going to go to jail for it. If I murder someone, I go to jail. I'm separated from my kid because of my own doing, not because. Creating that narrative to make it, oh, you're doing such a wrong, such a bad thing, you're separating kids. Tom Holman actually made this video that went viral the other day that was super funny.
God, I love that man.
Yeah, I know, me too. And he was they were what are you gonna do? or something about separating families from their, or parents from their children by sending them back to Mexico or whatever. She goes, how would you keep the families together? He goes, I'll send the kids with them. I was like,
you're here illegally. You got to go. It's one of those things where I don't know about you. Like, I'm a normal person. Like, it makes me sad to see people in angst or in a bad situation. In my dream world, all of these countries wouldn't be hellholes, and therefore no one would want to leave them because everything's just good and everyone's free and it's a great world to live in. That's not the reality that we live in. Of course, I feel bad, but there are realities in place, and we have to live by those realities.
Yeah, and I think that exactly. They keep like pushing this emotional argument and this like emotional narrative that's like, okay, sure, that's sad. Families are being separated. I don't like that. That's not good. Okay, securing the American people though. Like, oh, maybe the person that we're separating the child from is a murderer. He killed a bunch of people at the border, or he's responsible for doing all these things. Like, whoever took Lake and Riley's life, if they had a bunch of kids, I don't think we're going to be that upset because we separated them. Because that narrative is like, oh, an American was murdered, so now that criminal is seen in a negative light by everybody. But because before knowing that the person did that, it's like, oh, well, they have kids and don't separate them. It's like, what if that person that has kids is capable of that heinous crime? You need to be able to secure it. We don't have any documentation. We don't know a background. Like, that's just being smart in protecting. And I love the parallels of like your own home. Like, if you have a fence around your home, you have your own family in there. Like, you're not going to just let anybody enter your home. You're not going to just let anyone be around your kids because you want to protect them and make sure that they're safe. Same thing applies to the country on an obviously bigger scale. And they just keep using emotional arguments to try and justify allowing people to come through and vilify people that want to enforce the laws we already have.
Right. But it's not even just the they of the Democrats or left-leaning or even right-leaning people that sympathize with this cause. It's not even just them. This is something that is plaguing the West, generally speaking. I was looking deeper into this article, the story about this specific Indian pedo, or whatever liberals want to call him, a minor attracted person. So fucked up. But I know. So turns out this is an ongoing thing in the UK and, of course, other Western countries, where this European, I guess it's the Convention of Human Rights, it's some sort of guiding document that somehow the UK is still abiding by. And in the UK alone, at least 53 foreign terrorists, including ISIS, jihadis, and would-be suicide bombers, have been blocked from deportation because of this bill. So this is something that liberals, this is not a problem specific to the US. It's plaguing the West, and I think it could be the downfall of the West. Not to get like, I still think we're all going to be okay, but it's really crazy.
I hear the UK is worse than here. Sometimes I hear like some of the censorship that they have there. I know like I think it might have been there where like X was, like certain X accounts or certain posts on X are not allowed or to be seen there or something like that.
Yeah, if it's hate speech, for sure.
Yeah, if it's hate speech. Like,
wait, bro, even in Canada, my cousins are Canadian. Sorry to cut you off, but
no,
this was wild. My cousin lives in Canada, and my mom will send our family group chat reels, and she sent one from Tucker Carlson, and my cousin just sent a screenshot of his Instagram where it said, Tucker Carlson News Network or whatever is not, you can't view that in Canada. The hell? You can't watch Tucker Carlson in Canada.
That's like a creepy thing to think about, that your government is having that sort of control over you. That's right. It's super terrifying to know that you haven't, like, you're almost powerless and like receiving information that could be vital or important or like eye-opening, exposing corruption. Like, nope, this is not allowed. Like, you put it in, I don't even know how you do that technologically because I'm so not tech savvy on how you take away the right to view a reel on Instagram. That's a
whole person's profile. It's wild. Literally, I'm thinking about this now and I'm like, obviously when I get to heaven, I'm going to hug Jesus first. But after that, George Washington or whoever put the freedom of speech clause in America, hug me, brother. Okay, you're second.
Thank you for that. And I'm sorry we're not allowing that to be enforced here either. That's one other big thing I want to see if Trump gets into office or when, is that this censorship thing is no more. This making sure we're shadow banned is no more. Like, so many people in this space like that would be have so much more influence and have changed a lot more lives and brought new perspectives that would like have made people think, that have been suppressed and silenced. And it's ridiculous. And obviously we still see a takeover happening in the media, like with people like Bryce Hall and Elon Musk coming to insanity. But it's still it's frustrating.
No, it's true. I mean, I just saw Tuesday night my Instagram. I'd kind of noticed that my Instagram views were suppressed a little bit, but I didn't think too much of it because I would have some outlier videos do like, 100,000 or 200,000 or something like that. But all of a sudden, I posted a video Tuesday night, and I would say 100 comments back to back to back. Oh my gosh, where have you been? Where have you been on vacation? How was your summer? I miss you. I haven't seen you. I'm like, I haven't left. I've been posting every day on this platform for weeks and weeks and weeks. What do you mean, welcome back? It's so confusing, but then all of a sudden, the ban gets lifted. I mean, thank goodness right before the election, if no other time, but still, why was it suppressed in the first place?
No, I know. And I've noticed that too with my content all the time. People say, where have you been? I haven't seen you. This
right
and that. I'm just like, sorry. I blame the algorithm, blame Meta, blame I'm still doing the same thing. I didn't change nothing. I didn't change a hashtag. I don't really do hashtags anymore, but I didn't change nothing. I posted like I always did, and you went viral or it didn't.
I know. Speaking of suppression, that actually brings us right into our third story, which is wild. I want to show you this video, but there was a California classroom that held a mock election where the kids who voted for Kamala got a pizza party. But if the kids voted for Trump, they were excluded from the pizza party. And there was a mother who, God bless this woman, called up the teacher and recorded it and was like, excuse me, why is my child who voted for Trump not allowed to get pizza? This is just wild. Let's watch this video.
Do you guys think this is normal for them to bring politics into school? And if they vote for, I live in California, by the way, but if you vote for Kamala Harris, then you're going to get a pizza party. You had told the class that whoever votes for Kamala will get a pizza party, but those that don't will not be included in the pizza party.
So I believe only one period 5, had a majority for Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and to follow that same spirit, because the Democrats are more for feeding the hungry, free medical care, free more services, just pay higher taxes, that I'll be willing to buy pizza for the class.
He didn't even try to hide it. He was just like, yeah, that's what I was doing.
That's insane. Yeah, because that's feeding the hungry, so I'm going to feed the kids that vote the way I want them to. That is like some intense brainwashing right there for young children. Hey, if you vote this way, you'll be rewarded. I mean, that's what they do on the bigger scale anyway. Hey, vote for us. We'll make healthcare free. Vote for us. We'll do this and that. You got to pay for it ultimately, and everyone and your kids in the future. But we'll make it free for you. But then you also be paying for wars going on in other countries. Well, we pay for that. We pay for that too. But hey, at least I'll get you some free stuff. You'll barely be able to afford anything in life. But hey, something will be free. And even
fake free.
Canadians talk about, I mean, you said you have family in Canada, so you know better than me. But some Canadians, I was talking to some the other day, and they're like, there's free healthcare. It's like if you have something that's actually really important, you
come to America.
And on top of that, if you wanted to get it in Canada, it might take 6 months or longer for you to even be able to get seen or be seen. Yeah. So I'm like, who cares if it's free if you die because you have cancer and you can't get treated until 8 months?
I know. I always compare, well, not always, but I've been thinking about this metaphor a lot more lately about how there's just a premium that you pay, for instance, on airlines. The free healthcare is like a Spirit airline flight. It's shitty. It might kind of get the job done, but it's going to be a crappy experience overall. I want to fly Delta, especially when it comes to my health, okay? So I'm paying the premium. I don't care if there's a premium to it. I'd like to live. All right, I don't even know. Back to the video, though, actually. On an unserious note, totally not shocked. Of course, totally not shocked. But, the serious part of it is that kids remember this stuff. There are ramifications. Think about something that happened to you in, middle school or high school. I'll never forget when Occupy Democrats came to my high school and gave us a speech, and my mom shredded my tiny little teacher just apart for having Occupy Democrats or Wall Street come to talk to us. It's basically what this guy is doing is shaming little kids and saying voting for Kamala Harris is the only acceptable way to be friends with people or get ahead in life. What does that teach kids? That's awful.
Yeah, it is manipulative. It's intentional manipulation and brainwashing for kids to believe a specific way so that they can. I mean, that's what they say though, right? They're trying to indoctrinate these children.
Yeah.
Trying to indoctrinate them because they're the future, and so they want their plans and their goals to be represented going forward, far past their lifetimes. They want this thing. I mean, it's been said that where we are now was planned hundreds of years ago, or many years ago. So it's I'm not surprised, but yes, when you see it in real time because of with internet and the advancement of technology, it's someone can record this message that they have with the teacher and be like, whoa, you're doing this to all these kids.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but it's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of terrible, I want to get into our next story. Today's show is sponsored by Freedom 2.0. What's in your water? If it's not Freedom 2.0, it might be time to reconsider. Freedom 2.0's award-winning water goes beyond the bottle with an 8-step filtration process that includes reverse osmosis, UV light treatment, and an infusion of 432 hertz, the body's natural healing frequency. It's not just about hydration, it's about providing your body with clean, pure energy, free from the sugars and additives that other brands like to sneak in. Why settle for anything less than the best? Freedom 2.0 is hydration redefined. Ready to make the switch? Click the link in the show notes and elevate your hydration game today. So a congresswoman's daughter, I can't even believe this is a real story. A congresswoman's daughter has been collecting reparations from her white friends for 6 years. Everybody's familiar with Ilhan Omar, crazy representative, but her daughter, her name is Isra Hirsi. She's a senior at Bernard College. Actually, she was temporarily suspended for being too much of a psycho for Bernard College. And she has reportedly received dozens of Venmos over the past 6 Juneteenths. And all of them are from her white friends, and they say reparations and happy Juneteenth on them. Should I be sending you reparations, Titus? The fuck is going on here?
One thing about me, like, I'm totally against reparations, but they're going to do them and give me the money. You know what I'm saying? Totally against it. Like, the crazy thing is, I could have family that wasn't even enslaved, but like, hey, hand it over, please. And that's another thing. If all these black people are complaining about reparations this, reparations that, what if your family was never enslaved and so you weren't eligible for like reparations? You're gonna be so pissed because you've been like crying and screaming reparations for the last however many years. But this is absolutely insane that she's doing this. But I'm not surprised. Her mom's insane. She must be too. I cannot believe you would have your friends pay you reparations.
I can't believe there are people that do it. That's the wild part to me is that, well, I will give her some grace in the fact that I definitely thought this was a joke because I have sent some of the dumbest Venmos, whatever, go look it up. I've probably sent my husband reparations or like, stupid Venmos saying like husband or wife dues or some bullshit like that. And like, there's tons of stupid things I've sent on Venmo. So I just assumed, oh, this is a joke. But when you put it in the context of they were sent at the same time, like every single year on Juneteenth, and they say Juneteenth reparations, like buy yourself a coffee or something like that. Like, what are you doing? What this woman, this girl, Isra, whatever she is so privileged in every sense of the word. Her mom's a congresswoman. She's in Teen Vogue interviews. Most students, if they get arrested and suspended for protests, they don't just get off scot-free and have no repercussions. Like, this is a person of a ton of privilege, and yet she's collecting reparations from her white friends who might not be in the same same privileged situation, but because of their skin color, we have to pretend.
Well, Chrissy, you have to factor in generational trauma, like a lot of the things that her family's gone.
Fuck, I'd be traumatized if my dad was my uncle too.
Yeah, no. No, it's that generational trauma, man. She's like, I just need it, like, in order for me to feel better about myself and about my family's ancestry and all the things we may or may not have gone through, because I didn't do that deep dive research, even though I want to act like I did. I need that money. Please hand it over. Like, that's what it is. And what's weird is I wouldn't have thought, because you said that, like, you thought it was a joke because you never heard of anything like this. And I would have thought the same thing until I watched Am I Racist with Matt Walsh. I don't know if you saw that. And
yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know how many people pay to be told how racist they are and how to not be racist? Thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. This is an actual thing. I'm like, I'm about to start this thing in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm going to say, all right, guys, learn how to not be racist. $2,000 a person. Class isn't starting until there's 30 people signed up. And then just make a bag off telling people how racist they are. Literally. That's the dumbest thing ever. But people do it and make
But also, this is the same people that say, oh, well, we need to be, giving reparations. Why don't you just spend the $2,000 you're going to go to a class that ultimately you believe in your mind or you perceive to be benefiting you? Why don't you give it to somebody or an organization that helps people or uplifts people? Like, put your money where your mouth is. Instead, you put your money in the hands of some crazy person that is ripping you off entirely so that you can feel better about yourself.
Well, they're the ones that are telling them that they're the problem. That's why they give it to them. Like, they're not going to give it to me because I'm like, oh, no, you're good. You don't owe me anything. So they're like, oh, yeah, well, we're cool with T, so we'll let it go. But whatever this woman's name is, this girl, it's like, oh, she thinks I'm a terrible person and I don't want to feel like that. And like, I care what people think about me. That's my problem. I don't. Like, say whatever you want.
No,
So
you shouldn't.
Insane.
Oh, you shouldn't. All right, I want to get to our final story because it's quite literally maybe one of the weirdest stories I've ever reported on. And that says a lot because I talked about Tim Walz funding boofing kits yesterday. So, so we have some weird stories, but this one might be the weirdest. So I went on Reddit and I found this thread
That's a problem.
of, yeah, I know. It was a mistake to begin with. But there are witches on Reddit trying to cast spells on Donald Trump, but they are now pissed off because he has, quote, some kind of protection around him.
Oh.
I know. I'm not even going to try to pretend I understand this, but I guess these witches are calling for a freezer spell, and it's a spell that they use to freeze Project 2025 from being implemented. If they had a modicum of understanding about electoral politics, they would know that Project 2025 is a project from the Heritage Foundation, not from President Trump. So good luck freezing something you don't know what is. They also send out spell books to each other on how to cast a blue wave and send uplifting protection spells to Kamala and Democrats across the country.
Let's just talk about how it's no surprise that witches are on the left. Like,
You're
no
so right.
surprise that the long-nosed green creatures are on the left, flying on broomsticks, wearing those top hats, like those pointy little...
Kamala's their leader.
Yeah, legit. There's no surprise there. If you told me that Kamala Harris is going to be anything other than a witch for Halloween, I wouldn't believe you, because like she fits the bill perfectly. That's what in the world? That is the weirdest story.
It's so weird.
Casting spells on Donald Trump, and there's just protection over him. That's called God.
I know. I wanted to get into that because I found this to be so interesting, the way they were talking about this protection. Okay, I'm going to venture to say, bold statement, there probably aren't witches that are Republicans casting protection spells over Donald Trump. Now, if you are one of those people, please reach out. I would love to talk to you. I'm just so curious. You're welcome to come on this program. Would love to have you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happening. So what does that tell you about this protection and almost like go in a weird way, but what does that tell you about this demonic witchcraft and God?
Yep. And it's the thing. I mean, you think about it, like, this isn't really acknowledged as much now, but I think it was in 2020 or even somewhat during the Biden just presidency. The left and Satanist church were like in cahoots with a lot of like beliefs and things that they were promoting, and we were like, whoa, this is insane that you guys are doing this. And now the same with witches. It's like, yes, they're always teeter-tottering in like demonic, magical, weird forces, while we on our side are always praying for the protection of Donald Trump. We're always praying for his safety. After 2 assassination attempts, we're like, please, let's at least make it to the president. Let's at least make it to November 5th so we can win. And then, so it's like, I think it's pretty obvious that one side leans more demonic and one side leans more godly. And obviously there's people in the middle. Obviously there's people that are on the left that are like, this is insane. I don't actually subscribe to this nonsense. But it is true that there's two sides in terms of like the spiritual aspects of what they believe. One's the Christian faith and one's like demonic witch-esque forces, which would be Satan.
Yeah, I wish more pastors would talk about that. And it's not leading congregations to go vote for Donald Trump. I think that would be really, honestly, appalling. I don't want my pastor to say that either, even though that's who I'm voting for. I just think that it's really important that people, especially Christians, know that you don't have to be voting for someone. You need to be voting for some vision. And there is a vision that is diametrically opposed to our beliefs.
Yes, 100%. I think, I don't think, because I had a pastor when I was in Texas who did a really good job of, he didn't tell us who to vote for, even though he's clearly a Trump supporter. But he told us, like, okay, here is the Republican platform. Here's a Democrat platform. Let's see what their policies say, what it is that they believe, and then let's apply it to the Word of God. And he would like be like, oh, and he'd take a scripture that was about life and like the, preserving the life of the mother or of the child in the womb of the mother. And all this stuff. He's like, that's, I knew you in your mother's womb, and I knew whatever.
Yeah.
It's like he would apply each policy to like things in the Bible and be like, okay, well, as you can see, like God's word aligns more with the Republican, platform. And like that's where he left it at. And obviously he was open Trump supporter. I think on his own social media he would say that. And I think pastors, but it shouldn't be controversial or wrong to say like, hey, obviously things change year by year. Maybe the Democrats at some point become more conservative or liberals become more like sane, and you can eventually vote for one day. But like
Right.
that's, right now, this is the platform, and this is where, according to the Bible, as a Christian, you should align.
Totally. Nothing is forever. We've seen obviously massive political shifts between what the Republican Party was made up of. The composition of voters for Republicans 10 years ago was so different than it is now. If you were to say that these now liberal elites, very, very rich white men are voting for Democrats, I think 10 years ago that would be shocking to people.
Yeah.
So when preachers or when pastors say that, it's really not a become a lifelong Republican. It is in each election, analyze what is best for building kingdom. And I don't know how you could vote for Kamala and think that that is best for building kingdom. But before we wrap, I know you have a flight to get on. I have one final video for us to react to for our fan favorite segment, Random Racism.
Random Racism.
Sorry. That is such an amazing intro, right? I'm
Oh, I love that.
literally obsessed.
I love that.
It's
That's
bringing me back to my
great.
iCarly days. So amazing.
So
I
good.
injected my days.
Love it.
Okay, so we can get into the second half of this video later, but I just want to start off by saying and teeing up this video by explaining to you that this person is going to say stealing is okay when black people do it, but not when white people. It's very confusing. Let's watch this together.
Personally, I don't look at a crime. If you're going into Target, a multi-billion-dollar company, and stealing clothes, it's not a crime. You're resourceful.
Not a crime?
Hell no. You're resourceful as f. You're homeless.
That's where we disagree, I think.
You've been displaced. I mean, because you're white and I'm black, there's a whole nother socioeconomical piece that I have never had access to. So you can go into any single place and put your name on a piece of paper, apply for that job. You're not worried about if your name sounds too black. You're not worried about if when you show up, if you got to do something with your locks because it's inappropriate.
Thoughts?
Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because, well, it's so stupid. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, say that to flipping Ben Carson, who's not poor and who does experience like a wealthy life. Say that to Vivek Ramaswamy, or say that to who's like, I think he's a billionaire, isn't he? Like, there's like
Obama.
Oh, I'm gonna get me started on that guy. I mean, he has like 5 like multi-million-dollar homes. Say like there's so many people that, I mean, Candace Owens is rich. Obviously, Officer Tatum's obviously doing really well. All these people, like, and guess what? They have the values. Those last two people have values that would actually get you to that place if you applied yourself. Anyways, but like making the excuse that you're black so that justifies you like stealing is actually insane. Because no, if you applied the amount of effort you put into justifying your criminal activities or doing those criminal activities, you might actually make something of yourself. And it's a disingenuous argument to say, oh, because you're white, you won't understand. It's like, no, I don't know who told you that lie, but you can make it in life if you actually apply yourself and work hard. And obviously, certain people have upbringings. Obviously, certain people start, further along than others. But if you work really hard, and this is the biggest thing, is like, if you work, I got to work 10 times harder than a white person, then work 10 times harder. But if you're not going to, then shut up. And that's not even true for all cases. I know I started off earlier in life than some white people probably did. It's just totally dependent on the individual and their circumstances in their life. It's not always attributed to your skin tone. Obviously, there's inner city, like there's a lot of black people that grow up in poverty. I'm not gonna sit there and like act like that's not true.
Oh yeah, no, it's heartbreaking.
But it's not. It's just you can't have like a blanket statement across the board for every individual and then justify your criminal activities by your skin tone. Like that's not. No,
I could think of a million other things that you could be doing in terms of bringing yourself forward and bringing yourself past some of the ugly parts of history in America. And I don't think looting and stealing from Target is going to get you there. If anything, you do have to operate within the system that you live, right? And that's not going to get you far. That's going to put you in jail, and it's going to keep you, as we've seen, in recidivism, like continuously committing crimes. I don't know how. I don't know if it's an education problem. I don't think it's an education problem because some of the most elite, most educated, quote unquote, people in the world believe this garbage.
I know. It's not. I don't understand that either. I don't know if it's like a brainwashing, something that frustrates me a lot about people that make it, that are black. Like they make it, they finally become super successful.
Yeah, like LeBron.
Yeah. And then they continue to still spout this thing about how like black people are oppressed. Instead of, you think, because if you actually wanted to help people, you actually want to help the communities that are like not financially literate, they weren't taught these things that maybe other people were taught, the white people, whatever, if that's what you want to say, then why wouldn't you, instead of saying this is a huge problem and it's because of race, with your billions of dollars, try and create some sort of community or some sort of course or some sort of like community-esque like initiative to actually help grow the community, help build financial literacy, help build ambition and purpose in these people's lives, like that's something that would actually be positive. And I don't understand just complaining while you're making your millions of dollars and racking up so much money and then saying, oh, that's for me, but not for you. Like, yeah, that happened for me, but I'm a rare case. I was super talented. I'm special. It's going to suck for you for the rest of your life. And that's because of the government. That's because of racism. That's because of, whatever. That's not the truth. And you're basically telling us you'll forever be down and there's nothing you can do about it, but let's at least complain. Like, it's stupid.
Don't be too logical, Titus. You might break some liberal brains over here. But thank you so much for coming on the show, man. You did an awesome job. It's so easy to talk to you. Where can people find you if they want your awesome reactions? Dude, you're almost at 1 million subscribers on YouTube, too. Let's hope that the people over here under Reported Stories can get you there.
Yeah, get me there, please, guys. I've been working.
Yeah.
No, you can find me on everything at Titus Ellis Smith. I'm mainly on Instagram lately and YouTube, but I'm trying to be on X. I'm really trying to start posting a lot on there because I know that's like if Kamala does win and we like lose our freedom of speech with the censorship going crazy, I'll only be able to be on X. So yeah, Titus Ellis Smith on everything. Find me.
Awesome. I linked it all below. If you're a real one and you made it to the end of today's show, will you drop the witch emoji, not just for Halloween, but for our spooky witch friends who want to hex people? Thanks, friends. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment about how beautiful, stunning, and funny I am. And if you want more content based in logic, be sure to click over here for more videos and clips of my show. If you have the means to financially support the show, consider purchasing from my merch line, Based Apparel, linked right below. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.